We should be live. Let me just make sure my audio should be good. Here. Audio test, test, test. You guys should be able to hear me. Okay, perfect. It is coming from the right spot. What's good, y'all? What's good? Jam-packed Sunday. A lot of you guys trying to clinch your playoff spots. A lot of you guys, trying to clinch top 1, top 2 seed in your league. Let's get after it. Corey will be joining in a little bit. He actually just landed back, driving back from, I believe he went to New York is what he said. He can correct when he comes back here. But yeah, we're here now. We got everybody in here. Got Luther Burden or Kyle Monungai at the flex. So pretty interesting call here. Monungai is going to be in that 26 to 30 range for me at running back. Similar range when it comes to Luther Burden. On paper, the matchup actually leans for the run game for Chicago. If you actually look at the recent trends of pass funnel versus run funnel, Hayden actually tweeted this out, but in the last 3 weeks, the Packers defense have been the single biggest run funnel in the NFL. When you look at their projection in terms of yards from scrimmage, Kyle Monungai versus Luther Burden, it's pretty close across the board. The question that I have for you, if it's a full PPR, you need upside, I probably lean towards Luther Burden. If you just need, a safe flex, maybe you have a close matchup projection, maybe you're a favorite, at that point, maybe you lean Monungai. I think they're very similar plays this week, top 30-ish level options at their position. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are cooking. Deflex, Strange, Tootin, Corum, Franklin, half PPR. So we lean Danny Dimes or Caleb. Strange, Tootin, Corum, Franklin. Okay, so for the first question, out of those options, I would actually lean Britton Strange. His usage has been very good since he's come back. And honestly, out of the other options, I just think you're picking at a dart throw regardless. And do we lean Danny Dimes or Caleb Williams? Let me take a look at my rankings this week because those quarterbacks, I believe, are in the same tier. But I do have, I have Danny Dimes at the head of the tier. The entry is a concern, but at the same time, a much easier comparative matchup. And you also get the 24 implied total here. I'm actually going to have to share my screen in a second as well. I have to click the go live on the site. My apologies here. Boom. Go live on the site. We are on air, and let me share my screen. Apologies. Okay, we'll get through these site comments in a second. And like I said, Corey's going to come back, and I'm assuming a lot of the people that sent questions on the site maybe want both of our opinions. So I'll just tackle whatever's in chat. And again, like I said, once Corey is here, probably within 5 or 10 minutes, we'll tackle these site questions. So do Devin Neal or Alec Pierce? Let me take a look exactly where they both rank at running back and wide receiver respectively. Devin Neal currently ranking RB23 for me this week. Wide receiver Alec Pierce is at 26. So again, if it's a full PPR, maybe you lean towards Alec Pierce. At the same time, there is a projected rain, 77% chance of rain last time I checked. I'm going to have to check the weather reports as well because when I was citing them in yesterday's video, the main 2 ones of concern were in Buffalo, 87% chance of snowfall. We do see the snowfall already given the morning forecast. 77% chance of rain in that Jacksonville versus Indianapolis game. So it's close. Let me just take a look at their projections as well on underdog because I'm very curious what their yardages are. Sorry, just a moment here. Okay, so pick him here. If I search in Devin Neal, and the projections aren't showing on my screen for some reason right now. Okay, perfect. Devin Neal. We got a 39.5 rush yard projection, 17.5 receiving yard projection, 60.5 rushing plus receiving yards versus Alec Pierce. You're looking at 51.5 receiving yard projection, 9.55 fantasy points. So it's pretty close here. The fantasy point projection is within about 0.7. I would say that the safer play is probably Alec Pierce, but if you're looking for some upside, maybe some scoring equity, Devin Neal would be your guy. So it really just depends on your matchup projection, but in terms of face value, I actually do slightly lean for a guy like Alec Pierce. Lamar Burrow, give me Joe Burrow there, Ragster. Burrow or Mahomes, fellas, appreciate Lucas. Let me take a look because I think I have Mahomes slightly higher, but yeah, I have Mahomes slightly higher. They are in the same tier for me, but I do prefer Patrick Mahomes this week. What's good, brother? What's good, Lennox? Appreciate you for popping in, brother. Kincaid or Loveland in a full PPR. I honestly think with Odunze out, I'm leaning Loveland there. Now, Obviously, the elephant in the room here, the usage hasn't been the greatest in terms of what we've seen from Loveland. He has been splitting, of course, with Komet, but we also have seen him take a stranglehold in terms of the road share. And like I said, with Noah Dunze in this game, I do think we could potentially see another breakout spot. So it's close. If I knew Kincaid was fully healthy, I might lean that way. But even though he's active, he's been dealing with the injury. I don't know necessarily what his usage is going to look like. On top of that, he's only really a 30 to 35% snap share player before he got hurt. So just kind of want to see what he looks like before I put him back in my lineup. What's good? What's good, brother? Appreciate you. Do or die to make playoffs, AJ Barner or Cade Otton? That is quite the question. Let me take a look where I have them respectively. I have AJ Barner as my tight end 15 this week. I do have Cade Otton a little bit lower because of Chris Godwin's involvement last week, 66% of the snaps, 78 receiving yards. I do think we could potentially see him get into a full-time role this week. On top of that, Baker's really been struggling. Like I talked about in the wide receiver video, since week 7, Baker Mayfield's averaging about a touchdown per game, 180 passing yards per game. Hasn't really looked like the same quarterback. So with that being said, I do think with AJ Barner, I think I would lean that direction. Jacoby versus Rams or Tyler versus Miami. Winning, I get a bye. Losing, I'm playing next week. I am going Jacoby Brissett against the Los Angeles Rams. Now, I understand the matchup is bad on paper, but at the same time, about 8-point underdogs in this game. We've seen the neutral pass rate for the Cardinals be extremely high, 45, potentially even 50 attempts being at his disposal this week. So like I said, even though it is a tough matchup, I think the volume is going to be able to get Jacoby over the top here. Omarion or Kenneth Walker. Let me take a look at the exact quote on the Omarion Hampton workload because they were close in my rankings when I did them, but let me just see. I have Omarion Hampton at 21. I have Kenneth Walker at 20. Reason being, the usage trend is favoring Kenneth Walker as of late. And I just kind of want to see what Omarion looks like before I put him back in my lineup. So very close. Like I said, they are back-to-back in my rankings. If I knew Omarion Hampton was going to get the workload we saw prior to him going down, I would say him. But we also have heard a lot of coach speak in regards to Kamani Vidal. So I do think at least for this week, we're probably looking at a potential committee. I would go K9 as well. Caleb or Tua, I believe I have Caleb Williams higher, and I do. So I would go with Caleb Williams there, Carlo. Pick one, Aaron Jones, Vidal, or Quorum. Give me Aaron Jones there. Hampton, Vidal, or both. I would go with Hampton over Vidal, and I would have to know what your other context is before I say both. Burrow, Mahomes, fellas. I believe I said Mahomes. They're both in the top 6 for me, though. Myers, McLaurin, Watson, and Monangai need 2 full PPR. Myers, McLaurin, Watson, Monangai. Wow, that is a very close decision. So like I said, Monangai is about the RB 25, 26 of my rankings. If I go to wide receiver here, Myers 20, Watson 21, and McLaurin is at 18. So based off my rankings, I would go with McLaurin and Myers, but that is a very close call. I think the ultimate decider here, if Jaden Reed wasn't activated, I probably would have Watson over Myers, but I just kind of want to see how the snaps are delegated. I do believe Watson has kind of proven himself as the clear number 1 target there right now, but at the same time, I just kind of want to see what the snaps unfold. In relation to this, at least. I still like Watson as a top 24 option, 21 on my rankings this week. Brissett or Lamar, I would actually go with Jacoby Brissett here. I just want to see Lamar look good. That's really what it comes down to. I do think Lamar's playing hurt, and although it is a tough matchup, volume is volume, man. If Jacoby's going to be throwing the ball 40, 45, 50 times, whereas Lamar's probably looking at the 20 to 25 range, and on top of that, he just simply hasn't been playing well. I just think it's crazy to say this, but I think Brissett at this point is a safer lineup option, which feels disgusting to even verbalize. Harold Fannin or Dalton Schultz need a tight end. Let me take a look where my rankings are at. I do have Harold Fannin 2 spots higher this week against Tennessee. So I would go with Fannin. We're not doing that, Jay Wayne. Sorry. I'm just going to delete the comment. You can obviously comment something else, but we're not talking about that. KC or Green Bay defense, I already clinched a playoff spot. I think I would go with the Packers defense here at home, going up against Chicago. Caleb's kind of been turnover prone. I think I would lean that way. Warren or Watson? Give me Christian Watson. I'm assuming that's Jaylen Warren, and I'm assuming this is a full PPR. If that's Jaylen Warren versus Christian Watson in a full PPR, I actually do lean Christian Watson there. Pick one, Kincaid, Waller, or Loveland. I actually have Waller ranked the highest amongst these tight ends this week, so I would go with Darren Waller. Sup, Danny? Sorry about the boys. No worries, no worries. That was tough. I was just, looking for something positive, but I'm 0-4 live attendance watching those guys play, so maybe I should just never go to a Cowboys game again. It's unfortunate. I'm watching a JV defense out there. I'm watching Reddy Stewart manning up a monitor on the slot. I'm watching Deron Bland getting shook out of his freaking cleats by Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, it was tough. It was tough. What up, Danny boy? What's up? What's up? Hitting that like button, chat. Yes, sir. Yeah, we got you. Devin Neal or Luther Burden. I would lean Devin Neal there, but I hope I'm with you with this being Luther Burden's breakout spot. I'll talk about my underdog picks a little later in stream. Apologies, by the way, for those of you that were looking out for the shorts, that were looking out for the TikToks. I was just burnt out after my video yesterday. I actually ended up getting home from Detroit late Friday night. I ended up focusing, of course, in the morning, getting my notes done, getting my rankings up to date, making that video. I didn't really finish up till late. And by the time I finished that video, like I slept through the UFC card. I don't sleep through UFC cards. I am as big of a UFC fan as you could possibly imagine. I slept through the UFC card and woke up about round 3 of the Merab fight, which I'm sick to my stomach because Merab versus Jan, like from what I'm hearing, was legitimately one of the best fights of all time. So hopefully I can rewatch it from scratch, but kind of takes the lure out of it knowing that I know what the result was. By the way, if you guys are UFC fans, Peter Yan, man, like before his disqualification a few years ago, like everybody was talking about him having this type of potential, this type of upside. And I didn't think he would beat Merab. Like I thought Merab was on a path to potentially being, top 3, top 2 pound for pound fighter in the world. But you got to give Yan his credit, man. He fought insanely well. I do think the rematch is going to be great. I do think Merab's probably going to take the rematch, but you got to give Yan his credit, man. He fought unbelievably, apparently. At least in the rounds that I watched, he fought unbelievably, but I also heard in the first few rounds, he was really taking it to Merab. I mean, when I came back, Merab's face was covered in blood, and you never see that from a guy like that. If you can make Merab tired, that's how you know you fought a good fight, is all I'm going to say. Start Alec Pierce, McLaurin, or Hampton, and then Hampton or Harvey at running back. I would go with McLaurin out of those top 3 options, and I would actually lead Harvey over Hampton at running back this week. 77% chance of rain last time I checked. I'm curious what the forecast says right now, but I will have to probably adjust some of those players in that matchup down. Alec Pierce, McLaurin, or Swift for flex. I think I'm leaning Terry there. Let me take a look where I have Swift because it could also be Swift depending where I have them. RB 16 versus wide receiver 18. If it's a full PPR, I would lean McLaurin. Swift on surface level, you see, at Green Bay, big time underdogs. But like I said, Hayden kind of tweeted this out. Teams actually are choosing to run on the Packers. So we could see that potentially being used, obviously, with Ben Johnson this week with the Chicago offense. BTJ, Charbonnet, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson are wait for Monday status for Omar and Hampton. I think I got to go Hampton there. Him or Watson's going to be close. What's the scoring there, Jonathan? What's the scoring there? They're very close in my respective rankings. Those would be the 2 I'm considering for what it's worth. Flex Devontae Smith or Jaden Higgins. I really do like Higgins, but I think I lean Devontae Smith there. Maybe. Franklin or Addison. Give me Addison there. Franklin actually saw his snaps cut pretty dramatically last week. We saw Pat Bryant be the clear wide receiver 2 in terms of usage in Denver. So I would lean that direction. Walker or Myers, full PPR. Full PPR, probably go Jacoby Myers there. They're like really close for me. Pick 2, ETN, Warren, Debo, Hampton. Love the show. Appreciate that, brother. I would lean with ETN and Hampton there out of those options. Warren's kind of concerning me. Kenny Gainwell's kind of getting involved in the receiving game. We're not really seeing the full-time bell cow usage. It's been more of a committee. So I would lean those 2 in that question. Fannin, Loveland, Goddard, Gadsden got dropped rest of season. I would rank those Gadsden, Loveland. Goddard versus Fannin is close. But I would definitely go with those first 2 before. Godwin or DK. Give me Chris Godwin there, Austin. 10-3 clinch a buy, so I'm just experimenting. Watson or Higgins in the flex. I would go with Christian Watson. Love or Danny Dimes floor. I would go with Danny Dimes here. That's close. I would go with Danny Dimes, though. But it is in that weather game. Okay, how am I going to adjust Danny Dimes? Because he was at quarterback 9 for me this week. Jordan Love was quarterback 13. Would I start Jacoby Brissett over Danny Dimes? I probably would. Would I start Jaden Daniels over him? I probably would. I probably still lean Dimes here just because Love has been inconsistent in terms of his volume, but that was a close call there. Chat, do you think Luther Burden or Mark Andrews? Give me Luther Burden there, Omar. Godwin, Manungai, or Mark start 2 full PPR. I would go. That is a tricky call. Let me take a look. I have Woody Marks RB25. I have Manungai RB26. And I have Chris Godwin wide receiver 28, I believe is where I had him. In a full PPR, I would definitely start Godwin, and I would start Mark slightly above Manungai. But if you're really, Chicago pilled, you think he could potentially get more carries in relation to the last few weeks. Obviously, last week he had the big game. I don't mind going with Manungai over Marks, but I would slightly lean Marks in a full PPR given the workload. Amari Hampton or Nico Collins in my 8-team league. I would go with Nico Collins there, Ted. Appreciate that, Arthur. Appreciate that. Unfortunately, I'm pretty disappointed with how the narrative was kind of shed in that video. It was just Danny's the villain. It was just, he acted unprompted. There was nothing that went into it. I'm telling you right now, when you travel 3.5 hours across the border, when you lose your credit card, and the first thing you see in the Discord is Sal just talking shit to you, yeah, you're going to be pretty irritable. When you say in the chat, I don't want to deal with bullshit today. I'm going to the Cowboys-Lions game. I'm leaving the hotel at 5:30 to go to a bar before the game. Please don't let me deal with bullshit. And Joe is just making a mockery of it. Joe is just saying, yeah, you know what? You might be dealing with this. You might be wanting to be it serious, but I'm just going to keep fucking nudging and nudging and nudging. Yeah, I've reacted harshly. Was I going to completely banish him from the league? No. I was going to invite him back the next day after Gibbs played. My thing is if you're going to push and push and push and then be shocked when you get a harsh reaction, I frankly don't understand why the narrative was framed that way, in all honesty. Yes, I understand. I have responsibility here. I reacted. But the fact that the video was framed the way it was and nobody even talks about what went into me having that crash out makes me sick. Because now all the comments, I'm the evil guy, I'm overreacting. I'm telling you right now, dude, when you've gone through just what I've gone through and you go and you go and you take and you take, you have a boiling point. And frankly, Thursday, I'm at my boiling point. Apologies for those of you that had to see the crash out. Obviously, I'm good now, but I am sick to my stomach knowing that thousands of comments are talking about that and talking about me personally and talking about and attacking my character without knowing what went into that situation. That's all I'll say on what happened in the Flock League. If you watched the video, you watched it. If you didn't watch it, you didn't watch it. So be it. But you guys can pick and choose what narrative you want to follow, or you can follow the truth. Sorry. Let me calm down. Nico Collins, Ted. Last flex, need to win to make playoffs. Devin Neal, Hampton, Terry, or Burden. I would go with Terry McLaurin there. Good luck in your playoff push, brother. AD Mitchell would be very close there. I do still have Terry as the highest ranked player of that group. Flex Strange or DK. I would honestly go with Brenton Strange there. I always talk about DK being a glorified tight end. Well, Brenton Strange gets straight up better usage than him. So I would go with Brenton Strange. Jaden Higgins or Keaton Allen. Give me Jaden Higgins there, Zach. Jaden Higgins or Reed for flex. Give me Jaden Higgins there. Hit the like button again. Appreciate that listing. If I answered your comment or if you're just enjoying the vibes of the stream, make sure you leave a like down below. It does help us a lot. Daniel Jones or Jordan Love. I believe I answered this. I do have Daniel Jones still slightly higher, but it will be close knowing the ramifications of the weather there. Burrow or Hurts. I actually have Burrow ranked one spot higher at quarterback this week. Amari Hampton or Godwin at flex. Very close call. If you do have the stomach, I would go with Amari Hampton given the matchup. Philadelphia has been more of a run funnel defense. Teams have been veering not to throw against them. On top of that, Justin Herbert dealing with the hand injury. I do think, obviously, the talent level of Amari Hampton, he can chunk away like we saw last week with Chicago. I guess they're both risky options. For me personally, though, the payoff here would probably be with Amari Hampton, though. That is very close. Please ask your questions once. It's a great day to be. Yeah, congrats, Brock. By the way, Big Ten champions, and I'm happy you were able to take down my my rival. Obviously, as a Michigan fan, seeing Ohio State beat us last week was tough. I'm just glad that they weren't able to win the Big Ten title, and you guys knocked them down in seeding, and hopefully they're going to have to play a tougher opponent in the college football playoff. Strange or DK for flex, please answer or ask your question once. No, literally, I got to test the theory. I got to say, hey, listen, if I go to watch them against a shit team, they lose, then I know I'm actually cursed. It's just tough. It's tough. Vidal, Dobbs, Gatson, or Jordan Mason. Pick one full PPR. I'm not going with Mason now with the news that Aaron Jones is going to be playing. I think I'm just going to go with Rondé Gatson here. I understand the injury, but yeah. Jawan Johnson or Dalton Schultz. Let me take a look. Jawan Johnson at tight end 10. Dalton Schultz I have in the next tier. So I would go with Jawan there. Yeah, I might have to, Austin. I might have to. Yeah, again, please ask your question once. I'm doing this live on my own right now. I'm waiting for Bush before I get into the other site comments. You asking 4, 5, 6 times is not going to get your answer or your question answered anytime sooner. I promise you. Yeah, dude. Hey, trust me. I enjoyed it the previous 4 years, so I'm glad you were able to as well. Full PPR must win Addison or Mooney and Fannin or Loveland. I would go with Darnell Mooney slightly there, and I would go with Colston Loveland with no Roma Dunze this week. Luther Burden, Woody Marks, Troy Franklin, Devon Bailey, Kareem Hunt, and Flex. I would go with Luther Burden there, Blake. Assuming it's full PPR, of course. Yeah, I know. Harvey or Pittman, I would go with RJ Harvey there, especially with the weather concerns. Burden or Mooney, I would go with Luther Burden there. I agree, Brian. At least for what I've watched. Obviously, there's context, of course, in the first 2.5 rounds that I missed, unfortunately, because I was just completely exhausted. It was a long week, as I'm sure a lot of you guys would realize. But yeah. Yeah, I know, Simp. If you're going to be talking like that, you're going to go in timeout. This is not the vibe that we want here, respectfully. Here. Winner out of playoffs, need a flex between Judy Vidal, Kareem Spears, or QJ. I would go. That's a tough call here. I'd probably lean Quentin Johnson here. Put a question on the site. Much love, Danny. I appreciate that, Iron. I will get to all the site questions. Corey should be in here in a second. If Corey isn't in here by 12:10, I will just rip through all the site questions on my own. But like I said, I kind of want, if you guys pay for a question, you guys can get both of our perspectives, because I'm sure that's what you guys would want. RB, and should I start Devin Neal, DeAndre Swift, or one of those two, and Alec Pierce? I probably lean both the running backs, especially knowing the weather implications in the Indianapolis-Jacksonville game. Again, I'm going to have to put you on timeout, unfortunately, Hunter. I've seen that question asked in here 7-8 times. Again, ask it once, please. I'm going as fast as I can. Kincaid or Strange for tight end. I would go with Brenton Strange there. Yep. Again, please ask once. I promise you it will not get your question answered any faster. Thank you. That's why I asked about Myers, because the weather. So the thing with Myers specifically, if anybody's going to be playing well in that game, I'd actually assume it would be him. The one that I'm really the one specifically that I'd be really concerned with would be not Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce and Brian Thomas Jr. specifically. I do think the more short area targets, yak-based targets, are probably going to be the ones that would benefit in those circumstances. Bam Knight, Corum, Dobbs, or Jaden Higgins, full PPR, pick one. And full PPR, I understand the matchup's tough. I think I'm leaning Jaden Higgins there. It's close between him and Bam. Bam, obviously, very tough matchup. Probably going to lose pass down work to Michael Carter. Full PPR, I think I go with Higgins. I think he trusts the rookie breakout down the stretch. Swift, Monungai, Hampton, Vidal, Rodriguez, 2 running backs, 2 flex. I would go with Swift, Monungai, Hampton. I would probably just sit Vidal here. I don't think I would want to, lock up both of the backfields here. I don't mind that. Kincaid or Strange. I would go with Strange there. Just knowing, Kincaid coming back from injury. DK, Debo, Kincaid for my flex two flex spots. DK, Debo, Kincaid. Honestly, unless you're starting Kincaid at a tight end spot, I just kind of want to see what the usage looks like before I put him back in my lineup. It was honestly the most entertaining video of the year. I was pretty disappointed when I woke up, just seeing like I said, how the narrative was framed. Especially knowing just like how attacking it was on my character, as opposed to nobody really acknowledging what went into the crash out. Like, that's the thing. People will poke, and then be shocked, like I said, when they elicit a reaction. And it sucks, man. It sucks. Like, especially when you're a high-strung person, especially when you're a passionate person, especially when you're probably a person that has, some type of, I haven't had official diagnosis or anything, but probably some symptoms of, maybe a little bit of BPD. When you got people just tugging at you, and you're the one that snaps, and all that people see are that you snapped. Yeah, it's pretty annoying, especially when you don't have the ability to defend yourself, because the video comes out before you can even put a clip in. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Site is not down. I will get to all the site comments in a second, Dylan. I was just waiting for Corey to come back, and also it is 12:15. So I will actually answer the site questions now. I thought it was 12:03 for some reason. Knight or Tootin. I'd go with Bam Knight there. It is what it is. He's trying to get reactions. It is what it is. Yeah. Okay. I will get to the site questions again. Apologies for those of you that have been in waiting. Let me get to them right now. Corey, I'm assuming, is probably running a bit late, which is fine. Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy, or Trevor Lawrence. Let me take a look at my rankings for you this now. Lamar Jackson, Trevor Lawrence, or Brock Purdy. I probably still lean Lamar here. Obviously Brock Purdy on bye, so he's not in the equation. I would still go with Lamar over Trevor Lawrence. Running back here, obviously Dowdle on bye. I would have Amari Hampton ranked next up. Flexes here. Luther Burden for sure getting in my lineup, and probably Debo. Yeah. Debo and Burden look like my two highest. Brendan Strange would be close, along with a couple of these tight ends. Like, let me see. You have McBride, obviously, so that's not going to be a conversation there. I think this is how I would set your lineup this week. Again, hopefully you're able to win. Is there any comment that you left? No. Okay, so just a Dynasty 1 quarterback 10-team league. Hopefully that is able to set you up. Appreciate you, McLovin. Appreciate you. It looks like you have one big decision here at the flex. You're deciding between Woody Marks, Devin Neal, maybe one of the wide receivers. I would go with Christian Watson here. I would actually go with Colston Lovell with no Roma Dunze over Zach Ertz this week. And I like how you have everything else set up. Honestly, I think that's how I'd roll out the lineup. I would want to get Devin Neal in the lineup, but I do think the options you have in are better options this week. So again, appreciate you there. Help with waiver pickups, buys, pickups, drops, bye week if I win. Okay, so let's lock in terms of waiver wire pickups or buys. I don't see any context for the waiver pickups because it is a start sit. But in terms of the lineup this week, let me help you out. Obviously, Odunze not playing. Kittle's going to be on bye. They would obviously be the main flex options here, along with Dowdle. He's also on bye. I think it's pretty cut and dry for me. I'm going with Jaden Higgins. I'm going with Woody Marks. I just want to see what the Jaden Reed looks like, usage looks like before I put him back into the lineup. Yeah. I think that's what I would roll with. Quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Yep. Running backs, RJ Harvey, Omari Hampton, and Devin Neal. I actually have RJ Harvey ranked the highest of this trio. Wide receivers look pretty good. Obviously, Derrick Henry going to be making your lineup there. In terms of Gadsden versus Loveland versus Theo, that's a pretty interesting conversation. Where did I have Gadsden ranked? I had him ranked 6, but knowing the context of the injury, I'll probably move him down. That's a tricky one, man. Honestly, I'm gonna have Gadsden one spot higher. So I would go with Gadsden. That is, don't marry me to that because they are back to back. That's a tough one. I think both are very, very much upside plays this week. Give me Terry McLaurin. Give me Brenton Strange. And in terms of the flex, I actually love DeAndre Swift the most here. I'm not even typically a DeAndre Swift guy, but like I've quoted, last 3 weeks, Hayden tweeted this out, biggest run funnel defense, that is the Packers so far. So we will go that direction. Mecca Igbuka, Drake London, Terry McLaurin. I do have Igbuka slightly over Terry McLaurin in terms of the flex here. Could go with one of the running backs, but I'm still going with Terry McLaurin here. Again, appreciate you guys. Need one wide receiver, one flex from T. Higgins, Terry McLaurin, Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers. Also Lamar, T-Law, or Darnold. Help. Okay, so I got you covered here. Wide receiver here, I'm going with T. Higgins as my highest ranked. I also do think the flex would be Bowers for me. And in terms of the quarterback question here, I would go with Lamar. Appreciate you, Sortega. Hopefully that helps you out to answer the question. Higgins, Bowers, Lamar would be my answer. Dylan, appreciate you. We'll go RJ Harvey here. We will go with Dallas Goedert, Colson Loveland. I would go with Colson Loveland. And then in terms of the wide receiver, in terms of the flex, I think I actually have Sutton ranked the highest. Let me take a look. I think I have Sutton ranked one spot higher than McConkey. Yeah, I do. So I would go with Cortland Sutton here. Again, appreciate you. Hopefully that's able to set you up. And yeah, I'm assuming this is the redraft league you've been mentioning with your buddies. James Cook for sure. Chase Brown for sure. Locked and loaded. We will go with, I have Michael Wilson, the highest ranked there. Tight end here would be pretty close. I have Jawan ranked higher than Dalton Schultz. And then at the flex spot here, I'm assuming this is your toughest decision. I understand that Igbuka has not been good, but at the same time, I do think he's the best flex option here. I can appreciate you there, Mitch. Running backs, I would go, Hampton. Okay, I didn't even see Hampton at first. Go with Hampton. I would go with Monungai. I would go with Terry McLaurin. I would go with Emeka Igbuka. Tight end here, we are going with Brenton Strange. And then at flex, tricky call. I'll go with Alec Pierce. I understand the weather is a concern, but at the same time, I just don't know how much Vidal will play. Yeah, I would go with Alec Pierce, even knowing the weather. Fail to update question status. Do I have to refresh? Is the site down? Okay. Okay, one moment. I'm going to have to re-put the link in. Apologies, guys. I'm just figuring it out on the back end right now. The site kind of hang on me. That's fine. We are good. Boom. Hopefully this can load now. What the fuck? All right. Should be good here. Where did we leave off? We left off here. I believe I set it as Monungai, Hampton, wide receivers, Pierce, Terry, Igbuka. Pierce was in the flex, and tight end was Strange. Again, appreciate you there, Mitch. Start and flex help needed for wide receiver 2, tight end, and flex. I would go with Monungai versus Bam. I actually am not sure who I have ranked higher. I have Bam slightly higher. Actually, I'm going to change that. I'm going to move Bam below him. Tougher matchup, plus he's going to lose the receiving work. Michael Wilson for sure. Brenton Strange. And then I would go with Michael Wilson. Oh, yeah. I closed Michael Wilson before. Oh, Michael Wilson here, and I would go Alec Pierce here. Okay, dope. We are set there, Cobra. Calster here. I would go out of the quarterbacks, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow I do prefer over all these other options. Tight end here, I would go with Trey McBride, of course. Tight end or flex, sorry. Obviously, Henderson is on bye. Tracy's on bye. Go with Higgins here, even with the weather. By the looks of it, it didn't look like there was a lot of snowfall in Buffalo. It just looked like, a bet on the field, but we'll see if the conditions get any worse. That being said, that's where I would lean. Must-win week or I'm out. Who do I start? Okay, so let's get you. Lamar Jackson's the only quarterback. Running backs here, I would still go with Saquon Barkley over these other options. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor said it and forget it. Rashee Rice obviously entering your lineup. In terms of these other wide receivers, I have Jacoby Myers ranked the highest. Jake Ferguson obviously already played. And then at the flex option, I would actually go with Devin Neal of these options. So again, good luck in your matchup. Hopefully you're able to make that playoff spot. I am rooting for you. Give me my flowers. Zach, appreciate you. I would go with Matthew Stafford at quarterback, Aaron Jones at running back. Tight end here, we are leaning Darren Waller. And then at flex, I would go with Jaden Higgins. Again, appreciate you, brother. To update question status. Okay, we're good now. Quarterback, we will go Mahomes. Running backs will look good. Wide receivers look good. Flex, Warren, Burden, Gasson. Woo, interesting call. I probably lean Warren here. No, Hampton's in here. I didn't even see Hampton. Give me Hampton. I didn't see Hampton. My apologies. Wait. Adonai Mitchell, Arizona running backs. Neal is on waivers. So I would start Hampton over the Arizona running backs and Neal. I would still go with Hampton there. I would still go with Hampton. That's a pretty close call though. Don't want to be too too biased when it comes to Neal or Adonai Mitchell, considering that I am playing them in lineups. Boys need win 6 and 7. Should I make a change? I mean, it looks good for me. I'm assuming maybe you can only have 2 flexes. Let me just help you out because I don't know necessarily what the question is per se. You just say, should I make a change? If the question is start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like you're deciding between these 5 players for your 2 flex spots. If that is the case, I would have RJ Harvey after ETN, actually. I'd go with ETN, and I would go with Jalen Waddle here. Is it a full PPR? Could go with the 2 wide receivers. Let me take a look. Wide receiver, I have Igbuka at 16. I have Waddle at 17, actually. So I would have Igbuka. Give me Igbuka and Waddle. That is so close to my rankings overall. Wow. Apologies if that was a little bit unclear. I would go with the 2 wide receivers, Waddle and Igbuka. Apologies for that. This week, 1 Pirine, Carter, Tootin, or Spears. Let me take a look at my running backs. Pirine, Carter, Tootin, Spears. Pirine, Carter, Tootin, Spears. Spears 37. Pirine I have lower than that. Carter or Tootin. I would go with Bashal Tootin this week, actually. I do have him ranked at RB34. He's the highest of the group. What do you think of my tone setters trade? I haven't actually seen it. Let me take a look. I saw a glimpse of it. Was it the Mike Evans one, if I'm not mistaken? Again, like I said, I caught a quick glimpse of it. I wasn't able, unfortunately, to dissect it when I was driving, but okay. No, I see it. The Mike Evans one was a different league. So you gave up Odunze McCaffrey in a third for A.J. Brown, Warren Hawkinson, a 2 and a 4. I think this makes a ton of sense. I think especially given your spot, you are currently the 2 seed in this league? Yeah, you're the 2 seed. You're 10 and 3. You are realistically the second contender behind me in this league. You're actually the only one within 150 points of my scoring. So in your spot, getting some point equity, knowing that Mike Evans can be coming back, Odunze obviously value-wise could end up being the most valuable asset in this deal, but I also think the production that Brown and Warren are going to be able to give you is going to be nice. So I like that for you, AJ. I really do. I really do. Let me refresh in case anything came in. Yeah, we should be good there. So I will go back and answer some comments on the YouTube. Yeah, it's unfortunate, Brock. I mean, people are going to think what they want to think. People are going to say what they want to say, but it is what it is. It is what it is. It just, like I said, it really does suck that people can come to such staunch, strong opinions without knowing the full context of stories. And we're just in a society, we're just in a world where people don't need context anymore to pass opinion. It happens, which is fucked. Yeah, it is. It is. Knight or Tuden? I would actually go with Bam Knight there, Ian. Let's just hit Krim. Tell Corey to lock in as well. Looking for a 4th. Yeah, we got to get him on. We got to get him on for sure. I'm still waiting. So unfortunately, with the Battle Beaver that I currently have, my left bumper just stopped working. I want to get in the 8s. I want to get in more comp, but not being able to throw a stun, not being able to throw a trophy system has been not fun. So I've just kind of been relegated towards pubs for now. But as soon as that new controller comes in, you best believe I'm going to be taking it a little bit more competitively. We love a good crash out. Who cares? I mean, given how some of the comments were acting, some people didn't enjoy your crash out. Thanks, Danny. Anytime there, Raf. Anytime. Full PPR, currently starting Alec Pierce with the rain. Should I pivot to either Chris Godwin, AD Mitchell, or Luther Burden? If you are concerned about the rain, which I guess I will update those two wide receivers, they were a tier above Adonai Mitchell and Godwin in my rankings. I'm going to make them in that tier, and I'm actually going to put Mitchell at the top of the tier. So I would rank Mitchell ahead of Pittman and Pierce at this point. That'll be the adjustment that I make. So hopefully that helps. I love Sal. There's just time and place, man. There really is. Like, again, he's my guy. I have no bad thing to say. I will say, though, when you know that I'm going to Detroit, that I have no real relevance towards your situation, the first thing you're talking about is me on a clip. Like, yeah, I'm going to be pretty upset. Like, why are you talking about me? On top of that, you can say, oh, I'm 12-1 and Danny's 4-9 and he sucks at. I don't give a fuck about that. That doesn't bother me. But, like, if you're going to talk about me, just don't lie. Like, I don't know what this infatuation is with people about lying, about stretching the truth, about trying to over-exaggerate things. Like, you liked when I traded Puka Nacua. Why are you acting like I got robbed all of a sudden? You called Nathan that I took him behind the woodshed at the time. I traded half my team for Puka Nacua to get him initially. I traded Drake London and Jaden Daniels. Like, if you told someone when I made that Drake London and Jaden Daniels trade that I'd be able to turn them into, what was it, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and Derrick Henry? Like, if you told someone at the time I turned Daniels and London into those three players, you would have thought it was the best move in the world. It's just really unfortunate. Every move I've made this year, every calculated risk I thought I was making just hasn't paid off. And sometimes you'll have fantasy seasons like that. Sal, just don't act like you haven't, considering that I quite literally beat you in the toilet bowl last year. You had an awful season last year. Acting like, oh, just because Danny's having the bad season this year means he's bad. People will misconstrue everything. People will think because you have one batted fantasy season in one league, you are instantly a bad fantasy player. I can point to all of my other leagues. I can point to, 15, 16 other leagues I'm in where I'm having success. But of course, the one league that's getting broadcasted, I'm going to be on an 8-game losing streak and things haven't worked out my way. I just don't understand why people think that there is permanence to one singular season in one single particular league. That doesn't make sense to me. Do I want to talk about the leagues where I'm 13-0 in? Do I want to talk about the leagues where I'm the 1 seed, most points for? Nobody gives a fuck. People like seeing the league that's broadcasted that I'm 4-9 in and making their judgment on me off of it. I don't know. I just find it short-sighted. I really do. Romeo Doubs or Troy Franklin. I would go with Romeo Doubs there. Both are at risk in terms of usage, but Troy Franklin, at least we know Pat Bryant has already played over him. We could have the potential with Jaden Reed coming back. He gets eased in. I would go with Jaden Daniels there, Jake. I would go with Jaden Daniels, and I will quickly refresh on the site. Nothing has come in yet. Okay, perfect. Harvey Hampton, RB2, then Goddard, Fanning, or Loveland. I think I answered this on the site for you. I would go with Harvey over Hampton, and I would go with Loveland at tight end there, Dylan. Appreciate you, brother. Darnold or Daniels, I would go with Jaden Daniels there. Lamar, Bo Nix. I actually have Bo Nix ranked higher there, Cal. Pick 2 PPR, Pittman, Etienne, or Smitty. I would be sitting Pittman of those 3 there, Jake. Lamar or Baker. Let me actually take a look. Both have been struggling mightily. I think I have Lamar a little bit higher, but before I talk out of my ass, let me take a look. I have Lamar 2 spots higher. Lamar quarterback 12, Baker quarterback 14 this week. Bam Knight or Bashal Tootin. I think I already answered that. Again, please ask your question once. Bush is actually coming back from trip, so don't worry. If IU actually wins the Natty, I don't know what to do. I hope for your sake they do, honestly. They're a good team to root for, and anybody but Ohio. Anybody but Ohio. Would be nice for you. I'd be happy for you and the Domain boys for that. Waller, Addison, Vidal, Jaden Higgins, and a tight end premium pick 2. I would go with Darren Waller and Jaden Higgins there, Jake. Flock may know fancy. FSC knows football, and every streamer needs to be a troll. Yeah. Again, like it really sucks that so many people that aren't aware of who I am, what I do, what I say. A lot of you guys, of course, that have been subscribers for us that know us know that we know fantasy, but it's just unfortunate the way the cookies crumbled in the Flock League. Like, nobody cares that I was 1 game out and a fumble and a kick return away from making the playoffs last year. Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about the fact that Justin Jefferson, like everybody's top 6 wide receiver when I acquired him, Justin fucking Jefferson, arguably the best wide receiver talent in the world, is averaging, what, 8 points per game since I got him? Like, nobody cares about context. They just care about what's on the stat board. It sucks. It really does. Flex Kyron or Devontae Smith. I would go with Kyron there, Cal. Go with Kyron. Please help playoffs after 0-6 for my flex Worthy or Vele. I would lean Xavier Worthy slightly because it sounds like Chris Olave is going to be fully healthy. Genty or Wilson, I would, assuming that's Michael Wilson, I actually would lean Michael Wilson here. Crazy that we've come to this point. We worried about Jacoby with all the rain in Jacksonville. Because he's more of the short area target, I'm less concerned about him versus, let's just say, a BTJ. And I will adjust BTJ down a little bit. Initially, I had him at 30. I will be moving him to 30. 33 is where I'll move him down. 33. Fannin or Bowers. Give me Bowers there, Mista. 80 Mitchell, Woody, Marks, Addison, or Dobbs at flex full PPR. Give me 80 Mitchell there, Nap. A little bit risky, but really do like what the usage we've seen. And maybe last week was the break. Burden or Swift. I would actually go with DeAndre Swift there. Judkins or JT. I love Judkins, but I think you got to go with Taylor, brother. I think you got to go with Taylor. Justice for Canadian Commissioners, hashtag Flock League. Yeah, like full transparency, I was going to add Joe back to the league, but the fact of the matter is if you're going to disrespect me in chat, if you are going to unset your lineup after I said it, because I don't want to face backlash from Flock League comments of how a dev left their team half empty in playoff implication weeks, if I have to be made to be the bad guy, I guess I'm going to be made to be the bad guy. Everybody in the league agreed with me. Everybody said, hey, dev team, you got to fill the full lineup. In fact, I acknowledged to the dev team, I'm like, listen, you're starting the Patriots defense, they're on bye, whatever. That doesn't matter to me. If you want to keep the Patriots defense for the Flock League playoffs, you want to start a defense that's on bye, that doesn't bother me. What bothered me is when you have Jahmyr Gibbs, JSN, all of these active players purposely on your bench. And a lot of you might be asking, well, in my home league, this and that, I'm commissioner and everything goes. I understand that. But when you have 50,000+ people watching your league intently, not everybody thinks like that. And when you're a commissioner of said league, you're going to have to make stark decisions. Sure. Did I handle it the best? No. But people acting like they wouldn't have done a similar situation if somebody in your league is threatening to unset your lineup repeatedly once you set it for them, knowing the backlash the league will face if they actually start a half-empty lineup, I would like to see you react in that situation. A lot of people like passing judgment. They don't like putting the foot in the other shoe. Sucks. It really does. By the way, apologies if I'm a little animated. I'm trying to control my my emotions right now, you know. Got offered Adams for Hunter and Dynasty. I don't think you can do it. I'm keeping Hunter. I'm keeping Hunter all day, even as a contender. Hey man, cool stream. You think Waller over Burden in a flex? Really close. I really do like how Waller looked last week, and I do think the Jets are a matchup he can exploit. So I would lean that direction. Genty or Godwin or Scary Terry, pick one full PPR. I would go with Genty out of those guys. Jack, appreciate you. Trey Tucker or John Mechie. I think I lean Mechie there. They're both in the 40 range. Cody sent to start said I had some messages on the start regarding the tight end Gatson or Schultz. I believe I did answer that for you. If you did not see it, I would go with Gatson over Schultz there. Again, appreciate you, Cody. Hopefully you did get that notification on the site, but yeah. Jaden Reed, Terry McLaurin, Spears, flex one spot. I would go with Terry McLaurin of those options. Stitch. Refresh on the site. We should be good. Waller or Burden at the flex. I believe I answered that. I'd go with Waller. Down bad this week. Got CMC on bye. Start Wilson, P. Ryan, Carter, Tootin, or Spears. I think I go with Tootin there, Jacob. I think I go with Tootin. Man, don't let them get you down, G. Appreciate that. It is just unfortunate again. Like I said, I don't want to self-diagnose, but if you guys know what BPD is, which I've shown symptoms of basically my entire life, you'll know that you can take, but if people can push past the edge, you snap. And it's unfortunate. You try not to, but people got to understand that if you're going to agitate someone, you should expect any type of reaction as rational. Brissett or Burrow. I'm assuming that's Burrow. I would go with Joe Burrow there, Kevin. You guys are an entertainment company in addition to sports content. What you did was provide some great entertainment drama. I appreciate that, Todd. Appreciate that. I wish a lot of people felt that way. A lot of people felt that way. Need 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, Metcalf, BTJ, Shakir, Jones, Neal, full PPR. I would go Neal for sure is going to be the flex. In terms of the wide receivers, I would honestly lean oh, wait, is that Aaron Jones? If that's Aaron Jones, I would go with Aaron Jones at the flex. And I would go with, honestly, I'm sitting Metcalf of those 3. I'm sitting that Metcalf. Yeah, no. See, if you're gonna be toxic, Big Tasty, you're gonna be put on timeout. Like, it is what it is. Worthy or Vele need help, guys. I would go with Worthy there because of injuries. What's up, Dan? What's up, AJ? Appreciate you, brother. Would you do Waller or Strange? Waller or Strange? I would go with Strange there. They are really close to my rankings, though. They're the same tier. Danny, is Uncle okay? Yeah, he's just coming back from across the border. He's fine. I think his flight landed like 40 minutes ago or so. Which 2 would you start full PPR? AD Mitchell, Aaron Jones, or BTJ? As crazy as it sounds, I'd be sitting BTJ in this comment there, Nicholas. If Daniels is a free agent with me having Baker, should I pick him up? I would start Daniels over Baker. Yes, I would. Baker's playing injured. JT5 is 2 ranks ahead of him healthy. Yeah, I agree. Lamar, Jaden Daniels. I actually have, let me take a look. I have Jaden Daniels at 10 this week, Lamar Jackson at 12. I would go with Jaden Daniels. Jenny Chris, can you hear your side of the story on the Flock League beef? Just kind of echoes back what I've been saying. Like, Chow was kind of toxic. Like I said, I had kind of a bad experience driving over the border. Didn't know where my credit card was. Had to call and cancel my credit card from across the border. So that was already stress. First thing I see when I go into the Discord is Sal just randomly talking about me. So that also made me quite upset. And then the following day, like I said, like the dev team is just threatening to set a half-empty lineup. And knowing the optics of the league, knowing how many people are watching, yeah, that was pretty upsetting to me. I told them, I'm like, I understand the troll. I can deal with the troll. But at some point, we got to move past the troll. You're a 30-year-old rage baiting me in the chat, knowing inherently that I'm going to go watch my favorite football team play later in the day. We're dealing with this at 5:30 p.m. And I already said in chat that I'm going to be going towards, a bar before the game, getting ready for the game. I don't want to deal with anything. I made it very clear I didn't want to deal with anything. I still dealt with shit. Initially, I just took, I set the lineup. They unset the lineup. I took away their power to re-unset the lineup in commissioner chat, which is what I did. Full transparency, I didn't remove Joe from the league initially. What I did was remove his ability to set his lineup because I knew he would just unset it the moment I said it. I set his lineup again. He starts talking nonsense to me in the chat, starts saying some crazy shit. And at that point, I said, if you're going to talk to me like that, I'm not dealing with it. That's when I booted him out of the league. And like I said, did I act a little bit too much? Yeah, I probably did. Did I act a little bit too on emotion? Sure, you can make that case. But if you're going to push somebody and push somebody and push somebody and not expect a reaction back, that's my fucking response. And there's going to be a spectacle. There's going to be people talking about it. And like I said, I'm really disappointed in the narrative of the video because it didn't really do a good job painting the picture of exactly what happened. So that's my side. You guys can choose what you want to believe. I'm just speaking my truth. Again, if I overreacted and that's what you guys want to go with, so be it. I do acknowledge that I did to a certain extent, but at the same time, just not putting any type of blame on the people that got me into that situation, the people that got my mental status to be in that spot. Shame on them. And people passing judgment and people saying personal shit about me, shame on them. That's where I'll leave it. Go back in the stream, cats. Start Shakira, DK. I have Shakira a couple spots higher there. Neil or Rodriguez. I would go with Devin Neal over Chris Rodriguez there, Ahmed. Swift, Alec Pierce, or Luther Burden need help. I would go with Swift there, Caden. Danny, yo, what's up, bro? Man, appreciate you, brother. What's up, brother? You already asked that. Appreciate you, Danny. Appreciate you too, AJ. Appreciate you. Sit Mahomes or Burrow winning in situation. I would go with Mahomes, but yeah, I would go with Mahomes, but they're both top 5, top 6 options for me. Odunze, yes, sir. My formatting got messed up. It was supposed to be which quarterbacks to start. Oh, no worries, Cal. Here, I'll help you out there. I would go with I would go with Knicks and Burrow over Lamar this week. Hawk is good buy low. Yeah, I think that makes sense, AJ. I think it makes sense. I honestly think, especially too, being able to upgrade the 3 into the 2, it was a good process move for you to be able to make. You bought point equity now and you insulated yourself by moving the 3 up to the 2. I think it was a good move. Shuck or Tyrod? Let me take a look. I'll give Shuck some flowers because he's actually played a lot better than I thought. I do have Tyrod slightly higher given the matchup, but I mean, Tampa Bay is a pass funnel, don't get me wrong, but I also think their secondary is playing better with Jamel Dean back. So they're close. I will lean Tyrod 22 versus 24 is how I have them ranked. Shuck, DJ Moore or Troy Franklin. Give me DJ Moore there with Noah Dunze. Start one flex, one Watson, or start one flex, one wide receiver, one flex. I'm assuming you meant Watson, Sutton, Walker. I would go with. I'd probably go Watson and Walker, but they are like that's 21 and 22 at wide receiver and RB 21 in my ranking. So apologies if it's not conviction, but they are very close. But like I said, I would go with Watson and Walker. Why Martin over Debo and Warren, even with Dayton Daniels coming back? So with Debo, the reason why I'm a little bit concerned is we did see Terry McLaurin come back and be the clear alpha. 52% of the snaps, 14 targets. Sure, we did see Debo playing his best football with Jayden Daniels, but I also think Terry McLaurin just looked the best that he has all year. I'm just really curious to see what the split kind of looks like between them. And Omar and Hampton, if he is fully healthy, it's against a run funnel Eagles defense. So, what was the crash today? Yeah, we already answered that, Donnie, I believe. BS League was getting bored. Half the people think it was fake. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. Crash out, we want to see your anguish, my guy, especially when we are in anguish as well. Yeah, it is what it is. People like seeing me crash out. People like seeing me be unhinged because I'm probably the most relatable person in the league. Like, let me tell you, hey, like when you have a personality type or an inconsistent personality is what I'll classify myself as, you'll attach, value into things at an extraordinary amount. There'll be little things in your life that you value more than anything in the world. And for me, given how the year's gone, obviously a lot of context goes behind it. Not a lot of things have gone my way this year. The one thing I wanted to see is just either my fantasy team or the Cowboys have a great year. And neither have happened. So yeah, again, I'm a little bit mentally unhinged. I'm sure Arthur's probably watching this right now thinking I probably see a million patients just like you. It is what it is. But yeah, I'm passionate, man. And people are going to take that the wrong way. People are going to take it like, oh, look at this big crybaby. He's crying because the Cowboys lost. He's crying because his fantasy team's bad. Dude, I'm telling you, when you look for any type of joy in certain little things and you don't get it, it's going to impact you the wrong way. So it sucks, but hey. Sorry, but Sal sucks. No, Sal doesn't suck. It's unfortunate that he needs to talk about me when I have no relevance to his situation. Does suck, but hey. Aaron Jones or AD Mitchell in a full PPR need upside. It's tough with fuck. If you need upside, I might go AD Mitchell, but I have Aaron Jones ranked higher first and foremost. If you're solely looking at upside, because let's just say you have 20 to 30% win equity, I think the upside's pretty clearly AD Mitchell. So hopefully that helps you. Again, face value, I do lean Jones, but the upside is clearly with AD Mitchell. I'm not trying to be that guy, but what happened, been put off the country and close social media. Hopefully I was able to answer that for you within these last couple minutes. But yeah, it is tough. Start one. Again, please ask only once. I'm doing this solo. Should I start the Packers defense or do I have the balls to start the Commanders defense and hope for JJ to be bad? I think the safe answer is going to be the Packers. Again, their defense has been playing extremely well and they are at home. So process-wise, you go that way. But if you're on the side like, hey, JJ McCarthy is so bad, I want to start any defense against them, I don't blame you for that either. Immediately called him out with the old clip shit. Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Danny's 100% right. Appreciate you, Roman. Appreciate you. Lamar or Jayden this week? I would go with Jayden Daniels. Danny is one of the best players I know. I appreciate that, Arthur. Fortunately, a lot of people aren't able to see that because I lose a playoff spot last year, like I said, on some absolute BS. Obviously, to the guy who was rage baiting as a 30-year-old in chat and then gets shocked that I react to his rage bait. It is what it is. Sorry, Joe, but that is the exact truth. I am not Not pleased with how you handled the situation. Also not pleased with how the narrative was passed. But I'm not going to be resentful. We moved past, and people will think what they want to think. Trades were bad. See, the thing is, like, when I go back on my trades, like, at the time that I made them, nobody was saying they were bad. I took calculated risks. They didn't pay off. Like, it sucks. Like, and obviously in hindsight, they're bad. But like at the time when I traded Puka Nacua, it was because everybody said Derrick Henry was top 12. Everybody said Justin Jefferson was top 6, 8, including myself. Like, that's where I thought I was at. And even when I traded Puka, I didn't want to. The only reason I even made that move is because Tucker Kraft and Travis Hunter were out for the year, the exact week that I made it. So it sucks. Sometimes you'll have fantasy seasons like this, and it just happens. I don't know if I have bad karma. I don't know what possible otherworldly being I may have upset, but yeah, I don't know. Paper champions don't win leagues. Guys, BTJ or Burden, Swift or Hampton. BTJ or Burden, Swift or Hampton. I would start Burden over BTJ. I would start Swift over Hampton there, Robert. You're not wrong, Hassan. You're not wrong. Nobody cares about those leagues because the one league that's broadcasted just so happens to be the one where I'm losing my sanity. Picked up Jaden Daniels from free agency, 12-1 with bye week. I have Baker. Play Daniels or Baker this week. I would go with Jaden Daniels there for sure. Have the highest points for in my home league, but 5th seed is literally all chance. You're good, Danny. Appreciate you, Jonathan. Appreciate you. Some people, they can accept context. A lot of people, though, unfortunately, in this world, they don't need context, like I said, to pass judgment. Starting the holy trinity of Wilson, McBride, and Brissett. Good luck, man. That's going to be a ton of passing volume between those three. Yes, sir. But at 1-6 now, I'm up to 7-6. That's why you don't give up, man. Unfortunately, I've been on the inverse of that type of trend, but love seeing you being able to thrive, honestly. Like we see every year. I mean, look at Badaki in this league. Monungai or Woody Marks today, Caleb or Darnold. I'd go with Woody Marks slightly over Monungai, and I would go Caleb slightly over Darnold. That's close. Darnold's volume's kind of been concerned. It's been very inconsistent, but I think I would lead with Caleb there. Kincaid or Marks, full PPR flex. Brenton Strange at tight end. I would go with Woody Marks there and Strange at tight end, like you mentioned. Gatson over Fannin for me. You're not wrong, Katz. You're not wrong. Really just is, like I said, unfortunate how many people can be influenced by false narrative. Full PPR, DJ Moore, Monungai, or Devin Neal. I would go with Devin Neal of those options there, OMG. Wouldn't think too much of that. Yeah, it is what it is. Dobbs or Kincaid. And actually, in this question, I'd probably lean Kincaid. It's one of the first times I'll answer that way. The way I look at it is tight end 12, 13 in my rankings versus wide receiver 39. So, yeah. Daniels or Baker. Again, please ask only once. I'm trying my best here. Hampton, Metcalf, or Myers. I'd be sitting Metcalf of those three. Burrow or Love within the weather. Even with the weather, I still got to go with Burrow over Love just because the inconsistent volume. Haha, Danny is dope. Appreciate you. Hampton or Warren. I would go with Hampton over Warren. Danny, do you share profits from the channel because people are talking about the league nonstop this week and all the creator vids? So we all, make money off of the channel. You're not wrong, David. And again, me personally, obviously I had, a thought on it, but realistically the entire league shared the sentiment that this is the league. This is a league broadcasted to thousands of people. The optics of the dev team leaving their lineup half empty when creators are fighting for a playoff spot just won't look good for a lot of people. Everybody in the league shared that sentiment. It wasn't just me. So the fact that people are passing it off that I'm Mussolini, that I'm this dictator, that I put my foot down and I said, no, this is what it is and nobody else is going to be right here. That's what makes me sick because my action echoed the entire league's thoughts on the fucking dev team leaving their half empty lineup. It sucks. And David, like I said, if you're in a league with your buddies and there's 12 of you and that's all you're dealing with, that's one thing. But you got to think about the league optics and you got to think about the fact that 90,000 people have seen that video. Yeah, sure. There's going to be some people that think, oh, you can leave your lineup half empty. That's somebody's own decision. But there's also going to be people that call it Bush League. And to avoid conflict, the fact that the dev team didn't think about that really makes me sick because now I'm made to look like the villain. For the devs, that was a dick move for them. I mean, fuck. Maybe, again, like I said, maybe you think that it was a good strategy, but like I said, not everybody's going to agree with you, unfortunately, David, and the optics of the league are going to be mattering in that situation. Alec Pierce, DK Metcalf, or Devin Neal, PPR. I would go with Devin Neal amongst those options there, Pierce. Let me quickly take a look on the site. Nope, we are caught up there. Perfect. That's not what happened, Hassan. Again, that is not what happened. I said that the defense thing was fine. They kept repeatedly trolling me in chat after I told them, like, dude, I understand you're trolling. Enough's enough. Like, I'm going to this game. This is what's happening. Please don't make me have to deal with bullshit. I pleaded with them to not have to make me deal with bullshit, and they kept pressing my buttons. And like I said, I reacted. I crashed out. I'll take onus on that. But nobody talking about what went into that reaction is what makes me sick. Yeah. T. Higgins, Jaden Reed, or A.D. Mitchell. I would go with T. Higgins there, Ajo. Apologies if I mispronounced, by the way. Danny being animated, no way. Exactly. I mean, Arthur, like, I'm sure you know, when somebody gets pushed to the edge, reactions are going to happen. It is what it is, especially knowing my predisposition. I've always been like this my entire life. I can take. But if you push my buttons too far and a line is crossed, I react. And again, I can't control that. Unfortunately, I wish I would. I wish I was able to, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I believe I asked that there. I answered that. I would go with Burden and Swift. I'll go Strange over Burden. Do I still start Burrow over Jaden Daniels? Yes. Yes, sir, Hassan. Get the layout clear rules ahead of time. Start backups. There was a couple empty spots and there was a bunch of backups listed in there. And like I said, because the rules weren't set beforehand, like I said, I'm just trying to save face for this league. I'm made to be the villain, and if I have to be made the villain, so be it. But the fact is, like I said, a lot of people are going to agree with that side and going to disagree with that side. If it actually happened, there's going to be people arguing the exact opposite. So it is what it is. It is what it is. I literally said I wasn't in the mood to deal with bullshit, and they pushed me. Is Aaron Jones a sit? No, I'd be starting him as a top 20-ish level option. Had a similar situation where someone wanted to lose to make sure a worse team got into playoffs. See, the thing is, there was no benefit to them to do that because they weren't going to be playing the team that they'd be allowing into the playoffs. Like, there is just no strategy other than trying to piss me off. That's what happened. Knew he wasn't in the mood to tease and picked on by Sal News. Yeah, I mean, that's what happened, unfortunately. Yeah. Nico Collins or T. Higgins, full PPR. I have Nico Collins slightly higher there. Half PPR start 2. One has to be an RB. Woody, Aaron Jones, Burden, or Vele. I'd go with the 2 running backs here in a half PPR, actually. Appreciate that. I'm calm now. I'm a lot more relaxed now, but when I woke up Friday morning, I was really pissed at how that video was framed. Making fun of people's already. Exactly, man. Exactly. Especially when you know, like, just how my mentals are. Don't push me. Like, seriously, don't push me. I'm not a fucking child. Don't act like I am. Like, I don't understand how a 30-year-old needs to be explained that. Sorry. I don't mean to crash out on stream, but thinking about it, I have strong emotions. Kincaid or Schultz can be Kincaid. Woody Marks or Darren Waller at the flex. I would go with Darren Waller there. P. Ryan, Spears, or Carter. I think I lean Spears there, but that's a pretty close call. Full PPR, Kincaid or Schultz. Please ask once. Team Danny, I appreciate you, Dave. Appreciate that. You understand that I can take, but yeah, when a narrative gets spun the way it was, I was not too thrilled seeing that. Didn't want to be messed with him, wasn't in the mood, and they kept pushing him. Yeah, unfortunately. Downs or Vidal, no PPR. And a no PPR, I think I go with Vidal there, P2. 100 freaking percent. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Mason. Woody Marks or Darren Waller, please ask once. You need to acknowledge they said they were trolling early in the chat and you came and just that's not at all what happened though, Hassan. That really isn't at all what happened. I was in the chat the whole time, actually. I didn't just come into the chat and react that way, even though it was framed like that. I was in the chat the whole time. They said that they were going to start the Patriots defense, who was on bye. And I actually agreed. I said, hey, that strategy. Listen, if you don't want to pick up another defense and give up a bench spot, sure, start a defense on bye. I don't care. But my problem is when JSN, Gibbs, and stuff are on the bench. And that just ruins the league optics. If I'm going to be the fall guy, I guess I'm going to be the fall guy. That's so stupid. Yeah, unfortunately. And we were going, yeah, no, literally though. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It was Joe the Dev at the time. Yeah. Appreciate that, Roman. Appreciate that. No, it's not that deep, but yeah, just unfortunate. Maybe you should go with Buka and Wallace at Harvey. I'm out of the loop, fellas in chat. Hopefully you're able to catch up to the loop. My man, you should go with Buka and Wallace at Harvey. Are you worried? I also have Bucky going that invest. I mean, if you don't want to start a second Bucks player, I don't mind going with Harvey over Buka, but yeah. Hassan, it's not about believing the trolls. It's just when you troll someone, you have to acknowledge boundaries. And when somebody's clearly not reciprocating the joke with you, that's when you should maybe realize that their mentals are past the edge. And yeah, I got to do a better job regulating those emotions. But at the same time, there comes a time and a place when I'm trying to relax in Detroit and trying to get ready for my team playing later that night. I don't want to fucking deal with it. I don't. Commissioner's a thankless job, and I understand that. And again, I stepped too far, but it's just a fucking joke. It really is a fucking joke. Starting Darnold over Daniels today. Can't trust Jaden at all. I'd go with Jaden, but that's reasonable. Mess with Danny. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Half PPR start 2. One has to be a running back. Woody, Aaron Jones, Burden, or Vele. I think I already answered that, but I'd go with the 2 running backs. Again, apologies, by the way, we are 2 minutes past 1, especially for comments that are 4 on. I'll help out, but I did as much as I could considering I've been doing this solo. Yeah, it is what it is. Same thing happened at the BDG trivia. I mean, people don't like seeing somebody get excited answering a trivia. And again, that's part of it. I haven't gotten diagnosed, but I do believe that some type of BPD is present. And if you guys want to look that up for yourself, you can see that when you get excited, you get really excited. When you are down, you get really down. And there's no in between. So, Swift, Alec, Neal, Christian Watson. I would go with Swift. I would go with Neal, and I'd go with Christian Watson there. ETN or BTJ, I would have said ETN. Pittman or Igbuka, I would have said Igbuka. Kincaid or Chris Rodriguez, I would go with Kincaid. You go with Monungai or DJ Strange or Loveland, I would go with Strange over Loveland. I'd go with Monungai over DJ. Yeah, so I think it's going to be an implication. I moved a couple guys down, but yeah. Pick 2 must win Genty, Harvey, Swift, or Monungai. I would go with Genty and Swift out of those options. Entertain Crash. Appreciate that, T-Gots. Appreciate that. Well, listen, the league is going well for you at least. Yeah, fingers crossed. Hoping one of Arthur or Corey lose so I can clinch a bye week because, yeah, there's some tough teams for sure, and I don't want to play in the first round. Appreciate that, Arthur. Appreciate that. I'm sure you can understand. I'm sure you can understand. Addison, BTJ, need start 1. Help, please. I would have said Addison, or no, sorry, BTJ of those 3. Apologies. Travion start table moving forward. A startable? Absolutely startable. Yeah, no, literally. It is what it is. Get a chip in 2 of the last 3 years. Yeah, no, for real. If I win the Listener League, it will be 2 of the last 3. Brendan Strange, I would go. Lineup is all set. Appreciate you, brother. Pick 2, Charbonnet, Mason, or Hampton. I would have said Hampton and Charbonnet. We hold this type. I appreciate that. I really do. Good luck there, Roman. Good luck. Neil or Hampton. Apologies for not being able to get to this. I would have said Hampton over Neil, but they're close. Yeah, no, appreciate that, Roman. Appreciate that. I'm from just south of Toronto. I'm from Hamilton. Hampton by a mile, yes, sir. Got to put things into perspective. Lock leagues entertain. Yeah, it is what it is. Like I said, people will see a character. They'll see, a little bit of an exaggeration and just say some vile shit. But I deal with it all the time. I already answered this for you, 2K. I already answered this. Kind of hard to predict Lamar and McCarthy would be bad and kill Henry and Jefferson. I mean, it happens. I took a gamble as well. Traded back for Roma Dunze. He looked good initially, and then boom, he's right back to being ass. And now he's hurt. Like, I take gambles, and most of the time they work out. But unfortunately, in this league, it seems like every single one of them didn't. Wait, is this true? Notre Dame and BYU out, Miami and Bama in. Interesting. Appreciate that, by the way, Brock. Been tough trying to regulate everything. Apparently a lot of people made me the villain for thinking that too. Appreciate that. If you're not taking chances to try to win the league and risk what's happened to me, you're not trying to win the league. Like when you see that Sal has Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey and all those guys, you got to try to, fight back. You got to try to make plays. You got to try to, make some league winning type of moves. It's just, they didn't swing my way. Unfortunately, I was 4-2. Like people are acting like I've been shit all year. I was 4-2 in this league and I've lost for the last 2 months. I'd like anybody to see how that impacts their mentals. Got last place in my home league last year, started watching in Corey now first. Appreciate that. And I do appreciate that as well, Jax. Yeah, unfortunately, I gave up my commissioner powers personally. Yeah, Geek, I'm going in order. I apologize. There's only one of me, and there's hundreds of comments I'm trying to get through as well. Yeah, what's the question? Passion is a good thing. Yeah, sometimes it is what it is. You're not wrong, Sarge. You're not wrong, but I'm telling you right now, when you might have a little bit of something mentally, it's overpowering. Appreciate that, Prophet. Appreciate that, brother. Now, some people are reasonable, but a lot of people in the comments just were tough. Yeah. By the way, Brock is right. You can skip questions by going over to the site. Get him, Danny. Yes, sir. I know I'm going past 1 p.m., but just going through as much as I can right now. Maybe you should quit the league. You're not built for it. I mean, if that's your perspective, wow, that's really disappointing that you heard everything that I said and that's still your perspective. I'm sorry. I just don't think I want to see your comments ever in our channel ever again. Respectfully. If that's really your perspective, Sarge, then you can go watch a different channel. Apologies. You're rage baiting him. He wasn't in the right headspace. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not going to leave the league. I'm not going to do anything rash. Even though I was threatening at the time that I probably wouldn't play again, I'm not giving up. Not giving up. Yeah. Unfortunately, that is what it is. People just don't know how to react. It sucks, but I don't know. The last thing I'll say before I get off stream is people pretend to care about mental health after the fact than they do before the fact. And a lot of people go through a lot of shit. And I'm sure a lot of people understand what's going on. And yet they only care after the fact. So it is unfortunate that people will pass judgment without knowing the story. So either way, appreciate you guys for tuning in. About an hour and 20 minutes. Hopefully I gave you some insight. Hopefully the vibes were good. You guys enjoyed. And yeah, take care.